Right, let's be honest. 2025 was a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? A few decent releases, but mostly broken promises. However, welcome to FutureGamersTv. If you have been looking at the schedule for 2026, you will realize the lineup is honestly terrifying. We are talking about the return of Rockstar Games, Master Chief finally landing on PlayStation, and horror titles that look genuinely traumatizing. It is going to be a massive year. So, prepare your wallets and cancel your holidays. These are the 13 PlayStation games absolutely everyone is waiting for in 2026.
We have to start here, don't we? If we didn't, you'd probably click off. Grand Theft Auto 6. It feels like we've been talking about this game since the dinosaurs roamed the Earth. It has been over a decade since GTA 5 launched on the PS3. Yes, the PS3. And after the delays pushed it out of 2025, 2026 is finally the year we return to Vice City. But this isn't just about nostalgia for the 80s anymore. This is a modern, Florida-inspired hellscape, and honestly, I cannot wait to see how Rockstar handles it. The thing that has everyone buzzing isn't just the map size, although by all accounts it's absolutely massive. It's the density. We've heard reports about the new AI systems that make every NPC have a genuine routine. You aren't just driving past lifeless mannequins, you're driving past people filming TikToks, getting arrested, or arguing with alligators in their swimming pools. It's that Florida man energy digitized. The dual protagonist dynamic with Lucia and Jason looks to bring a Bonnie and Clyde narrative that grounds the chaos in something a bit more human. If the physics engine is truly an evolution of Red Dead Redemption 2, but applied to sports cars and rocket launchers, this won't just be the game of the year, it'll be the game of the decade. Let's just hope the servers survive day one, yeah?
Moving from crime to absolute carnage, let's talk about Insomniac games. They are basically the crown jewel of PlayStation Studios at this point, aren't they? They pump out hits faster than I drink tea. But Marvel's Wolverine is different. For years, we've had superhero games where you punch bad guys and they politely go to sleep. Not here. This is an M-rated Wolverine game, and thank goodness for that. We want to see the adamantium claws actually do what they're supposed to do. From what we've seen and heard, the combat is heavy. It's not the floaty, acrobatic ballet of Spider-Man. It's grounded, visceral, and nasty. The damage and regeneration system sounds particularly brilliant. The idea that Logan can take visible battle damage, chunks of flesh missing, his skeleton exposed, and you watch it heal in real time while you're fighting, that is next level tech. It's set in the same universe as their Spider-Man games, but the tone is miles apart. It's a road trip story, a bit of a Western vibe, stripping away the shiny skyscrapers of New York for gritty dive bars and forests. If they can nail the feeling of being an unstoppable, grumpy tank of a man, this is going to be incredibly satisfying to play.
Now, Capcom, you cheeky devils. We were all expecting Resident Evil 9 to be some massive action blockbuster, but the rumors surrounding Resident Evil Requiem suggest they are pivoting back to pure, unadulterated terror. Landing in early 2026, this title seems to be addressing the complaint that the series was getting a bit too shooty. We are looking at a return to resource scarcity, tight corridors, and puzzles that require you to actually use your brain. The premise is fascinating. Bringing back Leon Kennedy is a safe bet, obviously. The man's hair deserves its own game. But pairing him with Grace Ashcroft is a deep cut that lore nerds are losing their minds over. For the casuals, she's connected to the Outbreak series, which implies Capcom is finally unifying their messy timeline. The setting, an isolated snowed-in hotel complex in Northern Europe, gives off serious The Shining energy. The RE engine is already wizardry, but seeing it render dynamic snow deformation and lighting where your torch battery is your most precious resource, it sounds stressful, properly stressful, and that's exactly what we want from Resident Evil. No boulder punching, just panic.
The name's Bond. Well, almost. 007 First Light comes to us from IO Interactive, the absolute geniuses behind the Hitman trilogy. If there was ever a developer born to make a James Bond game, it's them. But they aren't just adapting a movie, they are creating a wholly original origin story for a new Bond. We aren't playing as the smooth, invincible veteran yet.
We are playing as a raw, arrogant recruit trying to earn his 00 status. This changes the gameplay loop entirely. It's not just run into a room and shoot the bad guys, it's about tradecraft. The social stealth mechanics from Hitman are being evolved here. You have to blend in at a high-stakes poker game, order the right drinks, charm the information out of a target, and then, only when things go wrong, do you pull out the silencer. The delay to May 2026 was annoying, sure, but if it means they can polish the driving sections because you can't have Bond without an Aston Martin chase, then it's worth the wait. This could finally break the curse of licensed games being a bit rubbish. It looks slick, stylish, and properly British. This one has been a long time coming. Lara Croft has been absent for far too long, hasn't she? Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis is the grand return, built on Unreal Engine 5, and it looks to be a soft reboot that unifies the gritty survival Lara with the dual pistol-wielding acrobat we grew up with. Amazon Games and Crystal Dynamics are throwing an absurd amount of money at this, and it shows in the environmental detail. We are done with the sad Lara crying in the mud phase. This is the confident tomb raiding expert. The Legacy of Atlantis subtitle suggests they are reimagining the plot of the very first game, but expanding it into a global, semi-open world adventure. The big gameplay shift here is the platforming. It's no longer just push forward to climb. We're hearing about a physics-based climbing system where you actually have to manage grip and momentum, sort of like Death Stranding meets Uncharted. Plus, the return of supernatural enemies, actual dinosaurs and mummies, rather than just endless waves of mercenaries with machine guns, is exactly what the fans have been screaming for. It looks like a proper adventure.
Right, hold on. I need to check my notes because this still feels illegal to say. Halo? On a PlayStation? The console wars really are dead, aren't they? Halo Campaign Evolved is arriving in 2026, and it's a full-blown Unreal Engine 5 remake of the original Combat Evolved, published by Microsoft on the PS5. It's a strange new world we live in, mates. Now, there is a catch. It's strictly the single-player campaign. No multiplayer, which has upset the purists, but let's be real. The story of Master Chief and Cortana crash landing on that ring world is iconic. Seeing levels like the Silent Cartographer or 343 Guilty Spark rendered with next-gen ray tracing and photorealistic textures is going to be mind-bending. For a lot of PlayStation loyalists, this will be the first time they've ever experienced the game that defined the FPS genre on consoles. It's a smart move by Xbox, honestly. Sell us the nostalgia, get us hooked, and maybe we'll buy a Game Pass sub. But strictly as a game, it's a piece of history polished to a mirror shine. Let's lighten the mood a bit, shall we? Sometimes you don't want emotional trauma, you just want to collect studs. LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight sees TT Games returning to their best franchise after a bit of a hiatus. They learned a lot from the Skywalker saga, and they are applying that massive open-world tech to Gotham City. But this isn't just one Gotham, it's a multiverse of Gothams. You can switch between the Gothic Art Deco Burtonverse, the neon-soaked Schumacher era, nipples on the suit included, presumably, and the gritty Nolan trilogy. The sheer volume of characters is going to be ridiculous. We are talking 300-plus playable characters, from Alfred Pennyworth to Kite Man. But the gameplay has been deepened too. The combat system has been tweaked to be a light version of the Arkham free-flow combat, making it actually fun to fight rather than just mashing the square button. It's the perfect podcast game. Switch off your brain, break everything in sight, and have a laugh. Absolutely brilliant. If you are part of the fighting game community, you are probably already hyperventilating about this one. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. This is the collaboration between Marvel and Arc System Works. You know, the people who made Dragon Ball FighterZ look better than the actual anime? Yeah, them. They are finally getting their hands on the X-Men and Avengers. The art style is this incredible 2.5D cel-shaded look that mimics comic book ink lines. It pops off the screen in 4K. But it's the mechanics that have people excited. It's a 2v2 tag fighter, focusing on assist combos and screen-filling super moves. Imagine calling in Magneto to crush your opponent with a steel girder while Spider-Man webs them up. The roster leaks suggest they are leaning heavily into the comics rather than just the movies, so we might actually see characters like Doctor Doom and Gambit getting the respect they deserve. It's going to be sweaty, it's going to be fast, and I fully expect to get absolutely destroyed online by a 12-year-old on day one.
Now, Crimson Desert. We have been watching trailers for this game for what feels like an eternity. It was supposed to come out in 2024, then 2025, but 2026 is apparently the hard deadline. And frankly, if the game is even half as good as the trailers look, it will be worth the wait. It's an open-world RPG from the creators of Black Desert, but it's a single-player-focused experience. The ambition here is just silly. In one trailer, we saw sword fighting, wrestling moves, magical parkour, dragon riding, and fishing, all in about 30 seconds. The physics engine allows you to climb on massive monsters while they fly around, Shadow of the Colossus style. The graphical fidelity is pushing the PS5 Pro to its absolute melting point. The worry, of course, is that it's too much, that it's a mile wide and an inch deep. But if they can stitch all these wild mechanics together into a cohesive story about mercenaries in a war-torn land, this could be the surprise hit that steals the thunder from the big Western RPGs.
Bungie has had a rough old time lately, haven't they? Layoffs, delays, angry fans. Marathon is their Hail Mary pass. It's a reboot of their ancient sci-fi shooter from the 90s, turned into a modern PvPvE extraction shooter. Now, I know the extraction genre is crowded, but this is Bungie, the people who made the Halo pistol, the people who made Destiny raids. Their gun feel is unparalleled. The aesthetic is what sets this apart. It's not the drab military greys of Call of Duty. It's vibrant, neon, cyberpunk madness with a distinct lo-fi sci-fi art style. You are a runner, diving into a ghost ship to steal artifacts while dealing with other players and terrifying AI cyborgs. They're leaning hard into the psychological horror elements, oxygen management, hallucinations, the feeling of being watched. It's high risk, high reward. If they nail the loop, it's the next big live service obsession. If they miss, well, let's not think about that.
I am convinced that Pragmata is a social experiment to see how long we will wait for a game we know nothing about. Capcom announced this with a weird trailer about an astronaut and a little girl on the moon roughly 5 years ago, and then went silent. But they've reconfirmed it for a mid-2026 release, and I am strangely hyped. It looks like a Hideo Kojima game that Hideo Kojima didn't make. The visuals are hyper-realistic, featuring a dystopian near-future Earth, or moonbase, where gravity is broken. The gameplay snippets we've seen suggest a buddy AI system, where the astronaut protects the little girl, who has some sort of tech-hacking powers. It's Capcom, and they are currently in their golden era, releasing hit after hit. So even though I have zero clue what the story is about, probably nanotechnology or space ghosts, I trust them. It's the wild card of 2026.
This was the announcement that made old-school gamers weep with joy. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. Capcom finally realized they were sitting on a goldmine of a samurai franchise and decided to bring it back. But this isn't a simple remaster, it's a full reboot sequel hybrid using the RE engine, and my word does it look sharp. The game is modeled after the legendary swordsman Miyamoto Musashi, and they are going for a more grounded, gritty tone than the demon-slaying anime vibes of the PS2 originals. The combat is described as lethal precision. One wrong move and you are dead. It sounds like they are taking cues from Ghost of Tsushima, but adding that classic Capcom supernatural flair. You'll still be absorbing souls and fighting Oni, but the swordplay involves stance switching and parrying that requires actual skill. It's the perfect blend of history and fantasy, and I am absolutely ready to slice some demons.
And finally, the game that will likely cause the most broken controllers in 2026, Neo 3. After Rise of the Ronin went for a more open-world approach, Team Ninja is returning to the hardcore, mission-based structure that made Neo famous, but with a twist. It's set during the Bakumatsu period, moving the timeline forward to where firearms and Western influence started mixing with traditional samurai culture. The key pulse combat system returns, which is arguably the best combat mechanic in any Souls-like, period. But they are adding a new spirit switching mechanic that lets you swap guardian spirits mid-combo to change your elemental affinities. It's going to be impossibly fast, visually overwhelming, and brutally difficult. The loot system will still drown you in color-coded armor pieces, and the bosses will still one-shot you if you blink. It's not for everyone, but for those of us who love the pain, it's going to be glorious.
So, there you have it. 13 absolute bangers that are going to ruin your sleep schedule and empty your wallet in 2026. It's looking like a vintage year for PlayStation, isn't it? We've got nostalgia, we've got innovation, and we've got whatever the hell pragmata is supposed to be. But I want to pass the question over to you lot. Which one of these is the day one take the week off work game for you? Is it GTA? Or are you secretly more excited for Lego Batman? No judgment here. Let me know in the comments down below.